Lots going on in Kraken land, Seattle hockey fans. Let's get you ready for game day with the big news. 2 players up. So who are the 2 players down? All that and more coming up on today's episode of Locked On Kraken.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are the Seattle Kraken.
Hey, what do you say, Seattle hockey fans? Welcome to another episode of Locked On Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We're bringing you your favorite team, the Seattle Kraken, every single day. Oh boy, we got a lot of news yesterday. We first got the good news that we would have 2 players coming up. One, you've heard about him before. We talked about him a lot last season. Shane Wright being recalled alongside Ryan Winterton, who is set to make his NHL debut today. So let's first just stay with the good news. I'm actually going to take you to Ryan Winterton talking to our Seattle Kraken media corps after morning skate. Here's Ryan.
NHL, you had a big smile on your face when you got on the ice this morning. What has the past 24 hours or so been like for you?
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy, honestly. Just kind of living out my childhood dream, which is kind of surreal. I don't think it's hit me yet, but it's definitely cool to be here. It's cool to get the call, and I'm looking forward to tonight.
It's not always likely that you get to come with a teammate. You got to come here with Shane. What advice has he given you? What was it like to not have to come on your own on this first journey?
Yeah, it's huge just for being comfortable. It makes you feel more comfortable. He's just told me play your game. The rest will take care of itself. So, I'll try to do my best and try to keep the nerves under wrap.
How many family members do you have coming to town, and are they scrambling real quick to get here?
Yeah, it's kind of like me. My mom and my dad are coming. Toronto, and they're hopping on a flight at, I think, 4 o'clock their time, so they might not even get here for puck drop. Might be, a period behind, maybe a couple minutes behind, but it'll be good to have them here after the game and for them to see that.
Shane said he was in the middle of a pregame nap when he found out he was getting the recall. How about you?
Yeah, I was legit about to fall asleep. Our coach called us, and I think I missed the first call, and he called me back, and I thought I should answer. So it was definitely, I was definitely up quick. I wasn't tired after that, so it was awesome.
The double call means it's either really good or really bad.
Exactly.
Right?
I was scared for a bit, but then it was the best news I could have got. So yeah, it's awesome.
So congratulations to Ryan Winterton. Let's learn a little bit more about what Ryan has been doing. You heard him allude there just now, and we heard from Shane Wright at Morning Skate as well, that Winterton and Wright have played together on lines with Coachella Valley, who, as of last night, yes, they did play last night, are on a 5-game winning streak, hoping they can bring some of that to the Seattle Kraken. Am I right? But anyway, here's what we need to know about Ryan Winterton. 20 years old, 3rd-round pick, 67th overall in the 2021 draft. He was playing in the OHL at the time, but that was cut short due to COVID. He has 3 goals, and 2 assists in 7 games with the Coachella Valley Firebirds this season. And I feel like most of our listeners certainly are OGers and everydayers. You know about Shane Wright, but just as a reminder, 19-year-old centerman, drafted 4th overall, death glares, by the Seattle Kraken last year in last year's draft. He had a wild ride, but got an exemption to play outright in the AHL this year. He actually spent the beginning of the Seattle Kraken season with the team last year in the NHL before playing in junior hockey, eventually making his way to the AHL. He played in the World Championships where he was the captain for Team Canada. So, he's been doing all right. The kids are all right. Now let's talk about the unpleasant reason for 2, not 1, but 2 players coming up from the Coachella Valley Firebirds. I do want to note that Brandon Tanev skated. It was an optional skate, which I think was super smart on the side of Dave Haxtell. We'll probably get into that in a little bit. But optional skate, Brandon Tanev did decide to hit the ice today. He's been getting back from an injury, lower body, and not someone who we expect to see in the lineup tonight, not anyone we expect to see in the lineup necessarily anytime soon. So we're not expecting Brandon Tanev. So what does this mean? Who are the players that are not going to be in the lineup? Are we going to see a healthy scratch situation? Well, at least one will not be a healthy scratch. Unfortunately, Jordan Eberle suffered a cut to his quad. That's the front part of your thigh. I am particularly a little sensitive in the quad area. I am resting a quad strain myself. So he has a laceration in his quadricep. Dave Haxtell spoke to media today, says that it seems like there was a procedure done. I don't know if he needed surgery proper. They were going through all the channels, MRI, wanted to see if the tendon was affected. We don't have all of the particulars, but did go and get his follow-ups, and seems like he's on the mend. From what Dave Haxtell said, he's expecting that Eberle will be day to day. But Jeff Baker of the Seattle Times wrote this yesterday. The cut came from, it was actually friendly fire. Jaden Schwartz, according to Jeff Baker, slipped on a puck. And when hockey players fall, their legs go up. And that caused a laceration to Jordan Eberle, who I guess was in the vicinity. Jeff Baker writes in passing that this comes as, cuts on the ice are becoming a big deal. Yanni Gourde, you've probably heard on the broadcast if you've been listening to the games. And I think I mentioned it the other day. He's been wearing neck guards. He's tried at least 2 different kinds. The amazing Piper Shaw and Allison Lucan have been on the story for us there. But there's, I forget the name right now. Put it in the comments if you can help me out here. But there's a particular kind of material. You can wear those kinds of socks. Sometimes, guards elsewhere on the body, because again, skate blades are pretty dang sharp. Anyway, that's really a bummer. Eberle, a player that I've said I think he's captain material. Jaden Schwartz has been fantastic. Even a company that I write for recently, they went through all 32 NHL teams, CBS Sports, and the player that's been the best so far from the Seattle Kraken, for my colleague at CBS Sports, Jaden Schwartz. And yeah, for sure, we'll get into that in a little bit. But that's what brings Winterton up, I would argue, for sure. Here is, I'm looking at the article and I can't find the exact phrasing, so I'm just going to let it go. But if you read Jeff Baker's article, he alludes to another Seattle Kraken player who got maybe banged up in Tuesday's game not being available. So Kevlar, that's the material. Okay, anyway. So I'm thinking it's one of our centers, right? Matty Beniers, I don't think, I mean, I watched Tuesday's game on Wednesday. Matty B, they mentioned on the broadcast, which I have mentioned multiple times, that maybe he was a little bit of a target of some of the physical play. That was a little bit of a bugaboo for us against the Coyotes in that shootout loss. I don't think it's Matty Beniers. I think you have to let him figure out whatever is going on. So then you have Yanni Gourde, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, or Alex Wenberg as far as the odd centerman out. Well, let's just talk about Tuesday. In Tuesday's game, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, I believe from blocking shots, was disrupted twice. Once lower body, and again, I think on the upper body, if I remember correctly. So if you're talking about a player, a centerman that got banged up, is that Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. He's the 4th line centerman. Then there's Alex Wenberg, who, if you're an everydayer and an OGer, you know while I was in Seattle, I told you about a conversation. I'm not going to tell you who exactly was a part of the conversation, but a conversation with the media corps and someone making some very interesting arguments against Alex Wennberg in the long term for the Seattle Kraken. If you have a situation where you're bringing in Shane Wright, are we expecting him to immediately be on the fourth line? Do we want him maybe on that second line? I don't really know. And again, Dave Haxtell, the genius that he is, he's also just really getting tired of telling us about his lineup. And I think part of that's because nothing really seems to be working so far. Where do we see Shane Wright fitting? Who would you like to see make way for Winterton and Shane Wright? Because both of them are playing tonight against Colorado, and we'll get into the Know Your Enemy segment of the show coming up on Locked On Kraken. Today's episode of Locked On Kraken brought to you by Jace Medical. Now, I've talked to you about the Jace case before, but Jace Medical is a great service because whether it's in case of emergencies or just making sure that you always have what you need, Jace Medical is the one place that can provide you, whether it's with their perfect Jace case, which has 5 life-saving antibiotics in case of emergency, or if you want to just make sure that you are always all filled up with your prescriptions through some of their other services, Jace Case is the way to go. Now you can find their form online. I'll give you all those details in just a little bit. It's a simple online form that you can fill out. Sometimes you might want to hop on a quick call just to make sure that everything that you need and that you want from Jace Medical is being taken care of. But otherwise, you don't have to worry about being caught unprepared when you use Jace Medical, whether you're using the Jace case and the 5 life-saving antibiotics or just other medication that you either need and are essential or that make everything that you do on a day-to-day basis easier. Jace Medical has you covered. Everyone should be empowered to take care of themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. And Jace can handle all of that for you, from the online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. So now I get to tell you where to go. We want you to head over to jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com and see what's offered for you. Don't forget to use promo code Locked On because that will get you $20 off your purchase. So if you or a loved one would like to get some peace of mind by having a year supply of any of your daily medications, go to JASE medical.com. Use that promo code Locked On. Thanks as always for making Locked On Kraken a part of your daily destination. I'm Erica L. Ayala, your host of this daily show where we talk about the Seattle Kraken. Now, you heard from Brian Winterton. He's got his family coming in from the Toronto area, hoping that they get to Colorado in time. And here's what you need to know. In addition to maybe, a thing or two about how we played against the Colorado Avalanche last season, in addition to that, we did not fare as well as we would have liked against Colorado earlier this season. And here are the updated stats for both teams. I'm going to pull these up on the screen, but if you're listening on audio, first of all, thank you. Maybe you're listening on Sirius SXM. Either way, I'm going to walk you through this. So as of today, November 9th, the overall record for the Colorado Avalanche, 8-3-0, 16 points on the season. The Seattle Kraken, 4-5-3. That includes our shutout loss to the Arizona Coyotes. The home record for the Avalanche, they are perfect 4-0 at home. The away record for the Seattle Kraken, 2-3-3. 7-3-0 in their last 10 games. That's the Avalanche. We are 4-4-2 in our last 10 games. Mentioned Jaden Schwartz. He's got 11 points for us. He's our leading scorer. Mikko Rantanen, 17 points for the Avalanche. The power play, 26.3% clip for the Seattle Kraken as compared to 18.6% for the Avalanche. The penalty kill, an 89.1% clip for the Avalanche, 70.3% clip for the Kraken. A few things to know. Win tonight would give the Kraken 3 consecutive road wins against a single opponent for the second time in franchise history, also having done so against the LA Kings March 28th. That's my sister's birthday. Now listen, I talked about streaks before the Arizona game, and they did not work to our favor. We were undefeated against the Arizona Coyotes, but I told you even earlier before Tuesday that you have to be careful for Arizona this year. And there were a few things, unfortunately, I think controllable things that we didn't do. I love that we hopped out to an early lead. Oh my gosh, that Tolvanen goal. Tic-tac-toe. Loved it. Didn't love that we also gave up the lead. Ugh. I spent a lot of time talking about how we have to learn how to play with a lead. We have to learn how to keep a lead, have that situational awareness. I think situational awareness was an issue against the Arizona Coyotes. Untimely penalties. Just, untimely penalties. Undisciplined. I think you can make an argument that the game was a little wonky as far as what was being called and not. You can say that about a lot of games. The Seattle Kraken did not do what we said on Tuesday. I do not think they played Kraken hockey through and through. There were ebbs and flows. There were lapses. So when we get caught playing that physical game, I mentioned that Maddie B was getting tossed around a little bit. Now, it wasn't like a goon squad type thing, but Arizona, young, scrappy, and hungry hockey team, they did enough to disrupt Seattle and to frustrate them. And, I think maybe there was an embellishment call, so I don't have to skirt around it. I don't have to skirt around it. I think that they used gamesmanship, and Seattle, we got lured into that a little bit. I think it's going to be a different game. It's going to be a more skill-based game. Colorado, of course, is a very skilled team. We have to think about what made us successful beating a very skilled team in a pretty high-stakes opening series to our first ever playoffs. And good goaltending. It's going to be Philip Grubauer, we believe, in net today, so I'm not too worried there. But a full team buy-in. We do not have Cale Makar on the Seattle Kraken. We don't. So no any other group of players can take a night off. Everyone has to play every night and give 100% of whatever they got. If you got 100% in the tank, obviously that's what we want. If you got 80%, I need you to give me 80%. 100% of whatever you have in the tank. The Seattle Kraken have not done that this year. Let's just be real. But to just think we're going to roll on vibes hasn't worked out for us so far. I want to see us work hard. Work freaking hard. Work so much harder than we've worked all season. That's what it's going to take to win tonight. Let's hear from the one and only Shane Wright in the next segment. I kind of gave you, my takeaways, but I'll try to tighten it up a little bit here on this game day episode of Locked On Kraken. Today's episode of Locked On Kraken also brought to you by Parkview Advance. As a business owner, you realize there are times when receivables might fall behind, but that doesn't mean that you need to fall behind on your vendor payments, payroll, or rent. For more than 25 years, Parkview Advance has provided businesses with secure working capital. From $5,000 to $1.5 million, Parkview Advance can approve your working capital in as little as 24 hours. It's a much easier process than you might imagine. We invite the many entrepreneurs who are listening right here on the Locked On Network to learn more by calling 203-675-0071. Again, that's 203-675-0071. You can also visit parkviewadvance.com. If your business needs working capital, call Parkview Advance today. Parkview Advance, helping businesses with their working capital. Again, check out parkviewadvance.com. And best of luck with your budding business. Coming to the home stretch here, folks. I mean, what an odd season. It's been an odd season. I kind of got on my soapbox in the second stanza, as I sometimes like to say. I got the space heater on, so it's probably why I got a little worked up. Space heater on, right on my face, just got my blood boiling. But disappointing, right? I've talked about that before. Disappointing. Are we dejected? Maybe not yet. We've certainly been handed, I don't want to say a raw deal, but it's been a strange series of events. A freaking quad tear. Burakovsky goes out for 6 to 8. Tanev out again. Those are two guys that in the last 2 seasons have been dealing with season-ending injuries, and we thought we were going to get them back, Burakovsky in particular, and we don't. Just tough, but the resilience. This is where we can, I know I've said this before on this show, show them what you're made of, the Wakanda cry. Angela Bassett, so good. Oh gosh, she's so good, so powerful. No spoilers, but also, is your heart hurting a little? Then you're all caught up. Anyway, show them who you are. Like, that's what we need. We need a Ryan Donato, piss and vinegar, somebody to, I feel like I've said this before, but in baseball/softball, imagine this is a bat. Okay. What we used to do is we would line the bats up on the fence. So my hand is now the fence. And what you did is you would wake the bats up. Don't worry, I've got a spare. You'd wake the bats up. You just kind of knock them over. I don't know if there's an equivalent in hockey. I feel like, hockey sticks are probably just about as resilient as baseball, softball bats. It's just like kind of like a light little flick. You don't go overboard with it. You don't want to break anything, but you do want to get loud. You want to hear the clatter. You want to hear the chaos, the collision. You want to shake out anything that's not working in your offensive tool to get something going. And I think we've got to wake up the bats, the sticks, but we have to, Maddie B has to believe what all of the rest of us believe. Now we're kind of taking an assumption. We all believe that he's talented enough to score at this level. We all believe that he's capable enough to score at this level and that he is confident enough to score at this level. But what we knew with Matty B, what he said, and he said it every year, this year no exception, is that he knows that he's wanted to work on his physical game. Said it last year, we said it again this year. He is being targeted. So how is he going to deal with that physicality? Do we want, and Allison and I talked about this, do we want Jared McCann being our enforcer? No. Do we want Matty Beniers going out there to settle a score? No. What we do want Matty Beniers to do is to get a little Yanni Gourde, get a little sandpaper to his game, baby. Come on. I talk about it all the time. Yanni Gourde positions his body. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could pull up the roster, right? I sometimes have my roster here. Here we go. Got my roster. Let's see. I want to know how big these guys are. Because my eye test. Okay, Matty Beniers is 6'2". Yanni Gourde is 5'10". I actually didn't realize it was that much of a difference. I thought they were a little closer in height. But now I'm just thinking, Kraken. Yanni Gourde is 5'10". And he plays some of the biggest hockey on this team, certainly for the forwards. I don't think that's a stretch. I do not want to offend some of our larger, and by larger, I mean taller defensemen, who I think have been really great for the most part. Yanni plays a big game. He plays a big game. He moves his body well. Matty Beniers is very smart. And so I have all the confidence in the world that Matty Beniers will figure out how to use his intelligence and to also bait. He plays a straight up and down game. What you see is what you get. He's not a trickster. He's not fancy. He's not, it's not like the da-na-na, da-na-na. The way that he shows off, air quotes, is by just grit and grind. Blue collar type stuff. Now I need Matty Beniers to know that he's Matty Beniers. And what you can sometimes do, the greats do it, is that they bait. They bait the other team into doing exactly what they want the other team to do so that either they, in this case, Matty Beniers, can open up his shot, or even better, Yanni Gourde is really good at this. He baits the other team so that he can make a play to his teammates. That's what we need from Matty B. Because once he can be like the trick pass, unpredictable Tisha Penichero, Sue Bird, Becky Hammond facilitator out there, no one's going to know what he's doing with the puck. Which only means that if he wants to play that straightforward type of game, it's open for him. I know I keep making I make baseball, softball, now I'm making basketball references. But it's the same thing that you see. There's this great football play that I was watching where the quarterback, I forget who was involved, but the quarterback knew. I think it was Peyton Manning. He said, I know this guy's move. And I know if he opens up this way on the defensive side, I've got the corner open. So do you know what the defender did? He opened up because he knows his own scout. This is just, it's genius. He knew his own scout so well. And I'm sorry to this man. I don't watch football. I came across this, I don't know, it was like a sports highlight package on YouTube, probably on a, sleep-deprived night. But he was explaining that he knew that Peyton Manning knew his mannerisms. So he did what Peyton Manning scouted, and then you see him open up, and then he immediately curls and goes right to the spot, because not only did he know that Peyton Manning knew his mannerisms, he knew what Peyton Manning wanted to do. So he deked Peyton and knew exactly where Peyton freaking Manning. This is what I'm saying. This is next level. I get very excitable about this. All right, I'm going to calm down. My point is, I'm gonna land the plane. Matty Beniers can be that type of elite level player because he's got the talent. He doesn't have quite the moxie and the size yet, but he can play those mind games, like Mamba mentality, kind of Kobe Bryant. I see that in the guy. I see that in Matty Beniers. This is a little bit of a rough patch, but he's going to make his way through. Are we willing to do what it takes to level up what Seattle Kraken hockey is? This is a good test. The good news is this is a good test for the Seattle Kraken. If you are, as they say where I'm from, about it, baby. If you are about it, show me. Show me. Show me. I'm not going to give you keys. I'm not going to show you rosters or project it. No. Drop the puck. Play the game. Period. That's it. That's all. That's it. At this point, play the game. Play the game. Are you going to do it or not? Are you going to get this win or not? Simple. It's simple. That's our show, folks. Thank you, as always, for making Locked On Kraken a part of your daily destination. It was a soapbox day. Got a lot of angst. I said to the subtext community, our Locked On Kraken insiders, I just need a little bit of a self-care. I truly dealing with a quad injury. I'm moving a little bit better now, but you might have noticed that the last few episodes have been I haven't been moving. That's because usually my leg is propped up, but I'm feeling better now. I'm getting some mobility back. Just needed a soapbox. Be kind to yourselves. If you need a self-care day, go take it. That's what I did. Be kind to yourselves. Be kind to one another. Hold fast. Stay true. Drop the puck. Play the game. Win the game. And we'll talk about it on the next episode of Locked On Kraken. Peace out, everybody.